There is a peculiar tremor in the human soul when you stand before another person and feel that sudden, inexplicable polar magnetic surge that whispers of destiny, of love, of a union written in some secret book beyond time. Yet, I must tell you, as I have told many who have come before me, what you often call love is not merely the meeting of another soul, but the collision with a part of yourself you have long refused to see. Falling in love is not falling into another person's arms, it is falling into the mirror of your own unconscious, into the shadow that has silently shaped your life. Do you feel that intensity when you look into their eyes, that electric storm of fascination and fear, as though you are both trembling on the edge of a great abyss? That abyss is not them, it is you. It is your own uncharted depth reflecting back at you, using the other as a surface upon which your own soul's hidden desires and wounds are projected. This is why the experience feels both intoxicating and terrifying, because you are not only meeting someone new, if you are confronting the parts of yourself you never dared to touch. The shadow is not some grotesque monster lurking in the dark. It is the collection of all that you have exiled from your own consciousness. It is everything you have deemed unworthy of your love, everything that does not fit the image of who you think you must be in order to survive. Yet, in the eyes of another, the shadow finds a way to return. It wears the face of the beloved, because that is the only way you will pay attention to it. The beloved becomes both the sanctuary and the battlefield where your unconscious plays out its secret drama. Love, as you imagine it, is often the soul's attempt to reconcile its lost fragments. That rush of longing, that burning passion, is not born merely from the other's beauty or kindness. It is born from the recognition, often unconscious, that here is someone who carries your hidden reflection. You think, I love them because they complete me. But in truth, they awaken the incomplete parts within you. They stir your shadow like wind through a dark forest, bringing voices to life that you thought were gone forever. Consider how quickly your idea of them changes. At first, they seem divine, perfect, almost transcendent. But as time passes, the cracks begin to appear. They irritate you. They trigger you. They reveal flaws you didn't notice in the beginning. Do you see what is happening? The divine image was not them. It was your projection. It was the soul's desperate attempt to cast its shadow outward and worship what it cannot yet embrace within. As the illusion begins to crumble, if you feel betrayed. But it is not they who have betrayed you. It is your own unconscious that has deceived you, forcing you to confront yourself through the mirror of another. To truly understand love, you must first understand projection. The human psyche is like a lantern. It cannot help but cast light and shadow. We see in others what we cannot yet accept in ourselves. When you fall in love, you are seeing both the light and the dark within your own being reflected in the other. You are drawn to them because they hold pieces of your soul that you have either lost or denied. This is why love feels like madness, because it is, in many ways, a descent into the underworld of your own psyche. I have seen countless men and women come to me confused and broken, asking why their love turned to pain, why the very person who once brought them life now brings them suffering. The answer is not found in blaming the other. The answer is always within. When you fall in love, if you awaken the shadow, and the shadow does not stay silent, it will demand that you face every unhealed wound, every forgotten fear, every secret longing. And if you refuse, the relationship will collapse under the weight of your unconscious expectations. You must learn to see the beloved not as a savior, but as a mirror. They are not here to complete you. They are here to awaken you. Their presence is like a key that opens the hidden chambers of your heart. Through them, you see yourself, not the self you show to the world, but the self you have buried deep beneath years of masks and pretensions. This is why love hurts, because the shadow does not rise gently. It rises like a storm, breaking apart the fragile structures of your ego, demanding that you see the truth. Have you ever wondered why you are drawn to certain people and not others? It is not chance. It is not merely attraction. It is the unconscious seeking its counterpart. The soul yearning to reclaim its own missing fragments. You are drawn to those who reflect both your unlived light and your unacknowledged darkness. You might think they are everything I ever wanted, but the truth is they are everything you need to see about yourself. They hold up a mirror to the forgotten aspects of your soul, both the beauty you are afraid to claim and the wounds you are afraid to heal. The process of individuation, the journey of becoming whole, is not a comfortable one. Love is one of its most potent teachers because it forces you to confront the shadow. The beloved is both a gift and a test. They awaken in you a passion that feels divine, but they also stir your deepest fears of abandonment, rejection, and inadequacy. Every argument, every misunderstanding is an invitation to see which part of you is being triggered. Do you dare to look, or will you blame them and remain blind to your own reflection? Imagine for a moment that love is not about finding someone to fill your emptiness, but about discovering the emptiness itself. What if the person you love is here not to make you whole, but to reveal the places where you are already broken? What if love's true purpose is not happiness but transformation? This is a truth that many resist, for it is easier to worship the illusion of romantic love than to endure the fire of self-discovery. But I tell you, only those who are willing to face their shadow can truly love, for love without self-awareness is nothing but projection. In dreams, the shadow often appears as a figure of the opposite sex. For a man, she may appear as the anima, the feminine soul within, the carrier of emotion, intuition, and the mysteries of the unconscious. For a woman, he may appear as the animus, the masculine force, the voice of reason, action, and spiritual fire. These figures are not merely fantasies. They are archetypes, universal patterns of the psyche that shape our lives and relationships. When you fall in love, you are often falling in love with your own anima or animus projected onto another human being. This is why the beloved feels larger than life, almost mythical. They are not merely themselves. They are the embodiment of something timeless and eternal within you. But when the projection fades, When reality pierces through the veil, you are left with a choice. Will you blame them for not being the fantasy you created, or will you turn inward and reclaim the parts of yourself that you have projected onto them? To love consciously is to see the shadow at work. It is to recognize that the fire you feel is not only about the other, but about your own inner journey. It is to honor the beloved, not as a possession, but as a guide, a companion who walks with you through the labyrinths of your own soul. This is a kind of love that does not fade with time, because it is rooted not in illusion, but in truth. When you begin to see love not as a romantic fantasy, but as a mirror of your soul's inner landscape, a profound shift occurs within you. The beloved ceases to be the savior you unconsciously demanded them to be, and instead becomes a living symbol, a key that unlocks the door to your deepest, most unspoken truths. You may feel as though you are drowning in the tides of emotion. But this drowning is, in fact, a baptism. It is the initiation into a greater understanding of yourself, a descent into the underworld where the shadow waits. Many fear the shadow because they believe it is evil or corrupt. But I tell you that the shadow is not the enemy. It is the part of you that has been silenced, neglected, misunderstood. Think of a child who was told to remain quiet, to hide its true feelings, to never speak its truth. That child did not disappear. It went into hiding within your unconscious, waiting for the day when you would be strong enough to see it without shame. Love has a way of calling this child out, forcing you to see the wounds you have carried for so long. When you meet someone who triggers you, who both fascinates and frustrates you, it is often because they carry a resemblance to this lost child of your psyche. They touch the raw places you have buried, and your soul aches, not because of them, but because you are being called to heal. The beloved is therefore both a healer and a destroyer. They heal you by reflecting back your unlived potential, your beauty, your tenderness, but they also destroy you, or rather, they destroy the false masks you have worn. They shatter the illusions you have about who you are, about what love should look like. And this destruction is necessary, for how else will you grow? We cling so desperately to our ego-constructed identities, fearing that without them we will be nothing. But true love is not interested in your masks. It wants to see you naked, stripped of every pretense, standing in your raw and honest truth. Have you noticed how love often awakens both your highest joy and your deepest pain? This is because it is not content with leaving you unchanged. Love is not passive. It is an alchemical fire. When you enter into true intimacy, you are placing your soul into that fire, allowing it to be transformed. The heat of that transformation will burn away what is false, what is weak, what no longer serves your growth. And yes, it will hurt, but in the ashes of that pain, you will discover a self you never knew existed, a self that is whole, so verein, and free. The shadow is cunning, for it does not reveal itself directly. It uses others as its canvas. You may find yourself intensely drawn to someone and you do not understand why. Perhaps they are not even your type, and yet something in them feels like home. This is the shadow speaking. It recognizes in the other something that belongs to you, something you have disowned. If you can see this and not run from it, you can learn to integrate these lost pieces of yourself. You can reclaim the power, creativity, and vitality that have been trapped in the unconscious for years. In many relationships, however, we do not see the shadow. We only see the illusion. We cling to the fantasy that the other will save us, complete us, make us whole. And when they fail to do so, we become angry, bitter, resentful. We accuse them of changing, of no longer loving us. But what really happened is that the projection faded, the dream dissolved, and now we are faced with a reality of who they are and who we are. If you are wise, you will see this as an opportunity, not a curse. You will realize that the fading of the projection is the true beginning of love. Only then, when the illusion is gone, can you see the person as they truly are, beyond the mirror of your own shadow. This is why so many relationships collapse, because we are not taught to recognize the difference between projection and reality. We fall in love with our own reflection, and when the reflection fades, we believe love has died. But love has not died. It is only now being born. It is being born in the soil of truth, where two souls can stand before each other without masks, without projections, and simply say, I see you, and I see myself through you. This is not a love that clings or controls. It is a love that liberates. The work of integrating the shadow is not easy, for it requires relentless honesty. It requires that you look at the parts of yourself you most wish to avoid. Jealousy, anger, fear, desire. These are not comfortable emotions, but they are the gateways to understanding. When someone triggers you, do not ask, why are they doing this to me? Instead, ask, what in me is being shown right now? What part of me have I neglected so deeply that it must appear in the form of this person? This question is the key to transformation. For every conflict in love is, at its core, a conflict with yourself. Dreams, too, are teachers in this regard. Pay attention to your dreams when you are in love. You may find the beloved appearing in strange symbolic forms, perhaps as a guide, perhaps as a shadowy figure, perhaps as both. The dream is not simply about them, it is about you, about the inner archetypes that are stirring within you. Through love, the unconscious begins to speak more loudly, for it knows that now you are ready to see. Every dream is a fragment of a message, a whisper from the depths saying, look here, this is a piece of yourself you have been seeking. The anima and animus are particularly active during the experience of love. For a man, the anima may be projected onto the beloved woman. She becomes the embodiment of all that is mysterious, emotional, and sacred within him. He worships her, not realizing that he is worshipping his own soul. For a woman, The animus may appear as a strong intellectual or spiritual force she sees in a man. She feels drawn to him, as though he holds a wisdom or power she cannot access alone. But again, this is a projection. He is not the power, he is the mirror through which her own inner strength is revealed. When these projections are not recognized, they can lead to great suffering. We place impossible expectations on the beloved, asking them to be the perfect reflection of our unconscious ideal. We demand that they never change, never fail, never disappoint, but they are human, just as we are. And when they cannot live up to this impossible image, they feel betrayed, yet the betrayal is not theirs, it is ours. We have betrayed ourselves by refusing to see the truth that no one can carry the weight of our own unclaimed soul. True love, then, is not about perfection. It is not about finding someone who will fulfill every desire or erase every fear. True love is about seeing the other clearly, with all their flaws and imperfections, and still choosing to walk the path together. It is about recognizing that they, too, have a shadow, and that by meeting each other's shadows, we can grow. The relationship becomes a crucible, a sacred container, where both souls can be purified and strengthened. It is not always easy, but it is always meaningful. The shadow will always try to seduce you into blaming the other. It will whisper that they are the problem, that if only they changed, you would be happy. But this is a lie. Happiness does not come from controlling or fixing another person. It comes from embracing the parts of yourself that you have long rejected. When you can do this, the beloved no longer carries the burden of your projections. You can love them not because they complete you, but because you are already whole. When we speak of the shadow, we are not simply discussing a psychological concept, but a living, breathing reality within you. It is as old as your first breath, Olaim, for it carries the ancestral memories of those who came before you, their wounds, their dreams, their unspoken fears. When you fall in love, these ancient echoes awaken, and they whisper through your emotions, through your thoughts, through the unexplainable intensity you feel for another person. The beloved becomes a vessel for this awakening, and you, perhaps unknowingly, are drawn into a dance that is both deeply personal and profoundly universal. Imagine standing in front of a mirror. At first, you see only the image you wish to present, the smile, the carefully arranged posture, the story of who you believe you are. But behind this image lies another self, a self you have carefully concealed. The beloved does not see only your mask. Whether you realize it or not, they see the flicker of your hidden self, and it is this recognition that electrifies the air between you. When you fall in love, it feels as though the soul is saying, "At last, I have found the one who sees me." But what it truly means is, "At last, I have found the one who reflects my forgotten self." This is why love can feel like destiny, because it is an encounter with your own depth. The shadow emerges in the form of passion, desire, and longing. demanding to be acknowledged, and yet most people do not recognize it for what it is. They believe they are simply enamored with another person's qualities, but what they are truly experiencing is the awakening of their own suppressed light and darkness. The beloved is both the mirror and the messenger. When two souls meet in this way, there is often an intensity that cannot be explained. It feels as though time stops, as though every moment is imbued with meaning. You see signs everywhere, as if the universe itself is conspiring to bring you together. But the true conspiracy is not external, it is within. It is the psyche drawing you into the mirror of love, so that you will finally face what has been hidden. This is why love can be both blissful and terrifying. It is not content to let you remain asleep. It calls you to awaken, to burn, to transform. I have often said that no one can escape their shadow, for it follows you wherever you go. In love, the shadow does not simply follow it, dances with you. It draws you closer to the edge of yourself, where the familiar begins to dissolve and something larger takes its place. You begin to question who you are, what you desire, what you truly fear. The beloved becomes the trigger for this self-inquiry. They challenge you, not always with words, but with their mere presence. They awaken within you all that you have avoided, and they do it without even trying. Some believe that love should be easy, that it should feel like a constant state of harmony. But this is a misunderstanding. True love is not the absence of conflict, it is the presence of transformation. When you meet your shadow through another person, there will be friction, for you are encountering parts of yourself that have long been buried. This friction is not a sign of failure. It is a sign that something real is happening, something that goes beyond superficial attraction and reaches into the deepest layers of your psyche. The shadow is not just the dark side of your being, it is also the light you have refused to claim. Many people are more afraid of their light than of their darkness. They fear their own greatness, their own power, their own capacity for love, so they project this light onto another, saying, "You are the extraordinary one. You are the one who inspires me," without realizing that they are seeing a reflection of their own unclaimed brilliance. This is why love can feel so intoxicating, because it is not only about the other person, it is about the revelation of who you might become if you dare to integrate all that you are. The process of integrating the shadow in love is not a straightforward path. It requires courage, humility, and a willingness to see beyond the surface of your emotions. When you feel anger toward the beloved, ask yourself, what part of me is being shown here? What wound or fear is being touched? When you feel overwhelming adoration, ask yourself, what qualities in them am I longing to find in myself? These questions are not meant to diminish love, but to deepen it. For only when you understand the roots of your emotions can you love with clarity rather than with projection. There is a kind of love that transcends the personal. It is not about possession or control, but about awakening. It does not say, "You are mine," but rather, "Through you, I see more of myself, and I honor that." This love is rare, For it requires both people to be conscious of the shadow, to recognize that their relationship is not just a romantic story, but a sacred journey of individuation. When two people meet in this way, they become co-creators of their own transformation. They walk together not to complete each other, but to become more complete within themselves. Have you ever noticed how the beloved often triggers both your greatest joy and your deepest insecurities? This is because they are touching the very edges of your psyche. They bring to light the parts of you that are raw, vulnerable, and unfinished. This is not an accident. It is the soul's way of guiding you toward wholeness. Every argument, every moment of tension is an opportunity to look deeper, to see which part of your shadow is asking to be integrated. But most people resist this. They would rather cling to the illusion of perfect love than face the discomfort of self-discovery. They would rather blame thee other than look inward. And so they miss the true gift of love. For love is not here to make you comfortable. It is here to make you real. It is here to strip away the layers of pretense until you stand naked before yourself, unafraid of what you see. If you are willing to walk this path, to embrace the shadow rather than run from it, you will find that love becomes something far greater than you imagined. It is no longer about chasing perfection or avoiding pain. It is about embracing the totality of your being, the light, the dark, the known, the unknown. It is about standing in the fire of transformation and allowing it to shape you into something more authentic, more whole. The beloved is not your destiny. Your destiny is your own self-realization. But the beloved can be the mirror that reveals the way. They are the sacred other through whom you can come to know yourself more deeply. They are not here to fix you or complete you. They are here to awaken you, to challenge you, to hold the mirror steady, even when you want to look away. And if you are wise, you will thank them for this, even when it hurts. Love, when seen through the lens of the shadow, is not an accident, nor is it merely a fleeting emotion. It is a spiritual encounter, a confrontation with the archetypal forces that dwell within your unconscious. To truly fall in love is to descend into the realm of symbols, to walk among the gods and goddesses that shape your psyche. When you meet someone who awakens both your deepest longing and your deepest fear, you are standing on sacred ground, the ground where the unconscious rises to meet the conscious, demanding that you become more than you have been. I have often said that the path to individuation, the journey of becoming whole, is paved with encounters that challenge your ego. Love is among the most powerful of these encounters because it dissolves the boundaries you have so carefully constructed. Suddenly, you are no longer an isolated self, but a being woven into the presence of another. You feel exposed, vulnerable, and alive in ways that defy explanation. Yet, beneath this ecstasy lies a deeper truth. You are not just meeting another person. You are meeting the reflection of your own hidden soul. Do not misunderstand me. The beloved is real. And their beauty, their voice, their presence is not an illusion. But what you feel for them is magnified by the projections of your unconscious You see in them qualities that are both theirs and yours, qualities that you have either lost or never dared to claim. This is why the experience of love feels like remembering. It is as though you have known them forever, because in a sense, you have known these archetypal forces within yourself since the beginning, and now they stand before you embodied in flesh and bone. But with this recognition comes a challenge, for the shadow does not reveal itself gently. When the first fires of passion fade, you may find yourself face to face with the parts of yourself you hoped love would erase: your fears, your insecurities, your unmet wounds. Many believe this is the moment when love has failed, but in truth, it is a moment when love truly begins. It is easy to love the projection, the idealized image. It is far harder to love the real, imperfect human being who stands before you, and even harder to love yourself when the mirror of that projection is removed. The work of conscious love begins when the illusions fall away. It begins when you see the beloved not as a fantasy, but as a soul with their own wounds and shadows. And it begins when you are willing to own your projections, to say, this quality I admire in you, I must also find it in myself. This pain you trigger in me, I must face it, for it is mine to heal. Without this inner work, love becomes a battlefield of unmet expectations. With this work, love becomes a crucible for transformation. I ask you to consider the stories we have told about love for centuries. We speak of soulmates, of divine unions, of love that transcends all obstacles. And while there is truth in these myths, they are often misunderstood. A soulmate is not someone who makes life easy or endlessly blissful. A soulmate is the one who holds the mirror so close that you cannot ignore your own reflection. They awaken your shadow because they are meant to. They are the flame that burns away the false layers of who you are, revealing the raw essence beneath. Dreams often carry the voice of the shadow when we are in love. You may dream of the beloved in strange or symbolic ways as a guide, a stranger, a figure, both familiar and unsettling. These dreams are messages from the unconscious asking you to see beyond the surface. They remind you that love is not merely personal but archetypal. It is a dialogue between your conscious mind and the ancient forces within you. To ignore these dreams is to miss the deeper meaning of your experience. And what of desire? Desire is not a weakness, though many treat it as such. Desire is the language of the soul. The way the unconscious calls you toward integration. When you desire someone, it is not only because of their qualities or their appearance. It is because they awaken a longing within you to become more whole, more alive. The danger lies not in desire itself, but in mistaking the other person as the sole source of your wholeness. They are not the source, they are the mirror. The true source is within you, waiting to be discovered. In my years of studying the psyche, I have seen how love can break a person open, and how that breaking is often the very thing that leads to transformation. When the heart shatters, when the illusions fall, you are left with a choice. Will you close yourself off, or will you allow the pain to guide you inward? The shadow does not rise to destroy you. It rises to show you what is missing, what has been exiled, what must be integrated for you to become whole. If you can see this, even heartbreak becomes a sacred teacher. There is a kind of love that transcends all dualities, a love that is not bound by projection or fear. This love arises only when you have faced your shadow and embraced it. It is the love that says, I do not need you to complete me, but I choose to walk with you because through you I see more of myself and of life. It is a love rooted in freedom, not in chains. It allows the beloved to be who they truly are, without trying to mold them into the image of your unconscious needs. To reach this kind of love, you must first endure the fire. You must walk through the shadow and see every part of yourself reflected in the beloved, the parts you cherish, the parts you fear, the parts you would rather deny. This is not a journey for the faint of heart, but it is the only journey worth taking, for on the other side of this fire lies not just love, but wholeness. You emerge not as a half searching for its other half, but as a complete being who can give and receive love without losing yourself in the process. I ask you now to look deeply within. Who is it that you see when you think of love? Is it truly the other person, or is it the unclaimed parts of your own soul? Can you love them not for what they give you, but for the mirror they hold up to you? Can you thank them, even when they hurt you, for showing you the places where you are still asleep? If you can, then you are walking the path of conscious love, the path that leads not to fleeting romance, but to transformation. The shadow will always be with you, but it is not your enemy, it is your teacher, your companion, the hidden force that pushes you toward growth. When you meet your shadow through love, embrace it. Let it show you who you truly are. Let it break you open and remake you into something more real. This is the gift of love, the truth that lies beneath the illusion. You are not falling in love. You are meeting your shadow, and in that meeting, if you are brave enough, you will find the door to your own soul.